And one morning I had got my proof for my book back, and my wife was like, all right, Ink, I'm about to go teach these kids. And I was like, meet me in the hallway. And she met me in the hallway. I was like, babe, you're not gonna believe it. She said, what you got, Ink? I've been knowing my wife since we were 10, right? And she said, what you got, Ink? I said, I'm about to go take the book to Oprah. My wife like, Ink, you know Oprah? I was like, nope. She like, you know somebody that know Oprah? I was like, nope. She was like, you sure? I was like, yes, ma'am. She was like, go for it. I went, I packed my truck, 300,000 miles on it, couple $100 to my name. I get in and I start driving. I get to Chattanooga, call my buddy Jeff. Jeff's an attorney. Jeff pick up. I said, Jeff, you're not gonna believe it. I'm about to take the book to Chicago to meet Oprah. Jeff said, Ink, you know Oprah? I was like, no. He said, I know what this is. He said, bro, I really admire you. One of the things I really admire about you, you're extremely ambitious. He said, but the chances of this happening, slim to none. He said, hang up the phone, call me when you get to Knoxville. I called him when I got to Knoxville. He picked up. He said, you still going, aren't you? I said, absolutely. He said, stop by and pick me up. I'm gonna make the ride with you. We get to Chicago that night. Jeff gets us a room. Next morning we get up. I go to the front desk. I'm asking the elderly lady, can you give me the best directions to Harper? Lady, I'm telling her, she looking at me like I'm an alien. She writing on a piece of paper, and she like, good luck, baby. And Jeff is standing in the corner. Jeff was like, Ink, wait. He was like, I'm gonna get us a taxi. I'm sure this won't be long. And we pull up, and there's people everywhere. And I jump out the car. Jeff says, Ink, I'm gonna try to find me something, coffee, something. I'm gonna just walk. And I'm just walking the building at the time. And whenever a door would open, I would just run over to it. Say, hey, I'm Inky Johnson. Drove up from Atlanta. Want to give Oprah my book. They're like, Ink, man, like, no, we don't do that. Like, watch out. Like, we don't do that, right? And I remember getting so discouraged. And everybody went into the building. I went across the street. I sat down on the curb. Gentleman comes over. How your day going? I was like, man, I've seen better days. I said, how are you? He said, I'm great. We small talk. He gets up. He bounces. I look up. Coming down the sidewalk was Oprah and her security guard. I stand up. I said, man, surely her security gonna move me out of the way, but I gotta take my shot. I gotta Steph Curry this joint. Like, I gotta go deep range. I done came too far, right? And I start walking. They keep walking. I keep walking. They stop directly in front of me.
Wow.
And I said, hey, I'm Inky Johnson. I drove up from Atlanta. I want to give you my book. And I'll never forget, she grabbed it. She said, thank you, that's nice of you. She handed it to the security. She grabbed my suit, right? I had on a big suit. And she shakes it. And she's like, it's a nice suit. Then she's trying to see if I had a gun or a knife or something, right? I was like, thank you. And she says, all right, I got to get in. I got to do my show. I said, would you mind if I take a picture with you? She's like, no problem. We take the picture. I go to walk off. Her security, as he's holding the door, I never forget, he said, hey, little man, wait. He said, come here, I got something I want to share with you. And I walk back over to him. He said, I'm not saying anything is going to come of this moment. He said, I'm not saying no TV appearance, no show, no book club. I'm not saying any of that. He said, but usually something like that doesn't happen. So I just want you to know that doesn't really happen. I said, thank you, man. I greatly appreciate it. I walked off. I put the picture up on social media. I sent it out to family and friends. Everybody's response was, Ink, you gonna be on the show? I said, Ink, you gonna be on the book club? I was like, I don't know, man. I don't care. Yeah. I said, what you mean you don't care? I said, that moment wasn't about that for me. They said, what was it about? I said, I needed to know that I was still being guided by a source in my force that was a lot greater than me.